This is your host, Pritin Ambrose. Today's episode is titled, David Letterman, a Remarkable Talk Show Host. This article was written by Amara Chamberlain. Tired of the artifice of Fallon, but still want a good talk show? My next guest needs no introduction, maybe for you. My next guest needs no introduction with David Letterman is a warm watch made specially for those who feel like a talk show format could do with more honesty and less artifice. It comes across as something approaching the midpoint between a typical piece of late night and more laid-back interview platforms such as the Joe Rogan Experience. Who better to usher in this transition than David Letterman, the king of late night? My next guest needs no introduction, boasts a variety of guests and some refreshingly candid interviews, even if it dips into self-congratulatory Hollywood waffle every now and then. A welcoming host.
Then I didn't have a show for a long time, and I can't tell you how great it is to be out of the damn house.
My next guest needs no introduction, benefits a lot from his host. Letterman is clearly a legend of the American talk show, so it is nice to see him turn to a medium that better accentuates his skills as an interviewer. He is an immediately likable host. Even his appearance adds to the show's quality. His biblical Walt Whitman-esque beard exudes wisehood and adds to the sophisticated, insightful tone. A laid-back hangout show like this needs a likable host, and my next guest certainly possesses one in Letterman. More honesty.
And see that people that don't look like them and don't talk like them and don't act like that can, be seen as people and not as like something to be scared of.
Though the high frequency of celebrity backpatting stops this from being candid in the way that, say, the Joe Rogan Experience is, it is notable that Letterman's interviews manage to strike a balance between the usual showmanship and genuine interaction. Though the conversation with Robert Downey Jr. involves the usual small talk, it increasingly delves into the darker aspects of his life in a revealing manner that never becomes confrontational, which is impressive when you consider how notoriously difficult it is to question Downey Jr. about his past. A similar quality is present in the Kanye West episode. Whereas many interviewers tend to condescend West, Letterman finds a way to address him in a welcoming, genuine manner, which immediately leads to a more interesting conversation. The episode Barack Obama is fascinating. It is far more about him as a person than as a politician, which is a rare sight given his high position. Insights about his wife, daughters, and life before politics are well elicited. It genuinely seems like Letterman likes all of his guests. He treats them with an infectious warmth, which is hard to not be won over by. A good interviewer.
What is more damaging to that democracy?
As well as this, the interviews work because Letterman adopts his style to the specific guest he is interviewing. When talking to Robert Downey Jr., he adopts a more performative demeanor that complements the actor's boisterous personality. With Dave Chappelle, he listens more closely, which suits the comedian's thoughtful yet biting comedic style. When interviewing Kanye West, he finds common ground through the discussion on mental health. In the first episode, he knows to simply listen to Barack Obama. Letterman is able to adapt to any guest personality. A wide variety of guests.
Would love to work with me, doesn't know how, doesn't know when. It was, I think, a qualified.
My next guest needs no introduction, also benefits from having a wide variety of guests. Some viewers may be interested to see superstars like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West brought down to earth, while others may prefer to hear the extraordinary story of Malala Yousafzai. It seems Letterman is able to bring anyone in. Jay-Z's appearance is particularly telling, given that he doesn't do many interviews. His episode, in particular, shows a soft, fascinatingly friendly side to his character. Interviews with comedians Dave Chappelle, Ellen DeGeneres, and Zach Galifianakis are similarly revealing and serve as further proof of the diversity of the lineup. The wide variety of guests is a good reason why my next guest needs no introduction is worth checking out. There is at least one interview for everybody's taste. An active interviewer.
Chicago blues. It's kind of standalone from other
blues music. Am I right about that?
Additionally, the interviews aren't just interviews. Each episode finds Letterman going to a different location to round out the central discussion. During Jay-Z's interviews, there are clips of him visiting the Shangri-La studio, where several other influential artists have recorded work. The talk with Barack Obama is backgrounded by Letterman's visit to Selma with Congressman John Lewis, and other interviews are complemented by house visits. Letterman's interview with Bollywood legend and reigning superstar Shah Rukh Khan takes us into his home and a meeting with his wife Gauri Khan. We get to see life from the perspective of a man who enjoys multi-billion fandom stardom, as well as his life behind closed doors as hands-on nurturer of his family, and the sparkling story of how he reunited with his wife by sheer universal force. Sometimes this extra content can be mixed in impact, as it can detract from the main guest. More specifically, it can lead to a focus on the aspects of the guest that are less interesting than what they have to say in the discussion. The house mansion tours tend to feel like victory laps for the financial success the particular interviewee has amassed, instead of revealing information about their character. The Downey Jr. episode particularly suffers from this. The more Lamborghinis, farms, and general luxury are the focus, the more it becomes less engaging to watch. A very warm experience. Additionally, though it is often pleasurable to see Letterman warm to his guests so passionately, it would be nice to see him pick more difficult interviews, not necessarily to grill, but to offer a more challenging alternative to the existing format. This isn't a realistic wish. However, were it to be realized, it would turn My Next Guest Needs No Introduction into a more complete experience. Overall, My Next Guest Needs No Introduction with David Letterman is a comforting and occasionally revealing watch. It greatly benefits from the legend, warmth, and interviewing skills of its host. It is certainly a needed shift away from the current landscape of insubstantial, increasingly outdated talk shows. The interviews seem honest, natural, awkwardness is welcome, and the laughs aren't shoved down your throat. The outdoor activities bring a sense of variety to each individual episode and are mostly successful. Each episode makes good use of the huge names on display. The lineup of guests isn't just big, it is diverse. Celebrities are the main draw, but within that there are comedians, musicians, actors, as well as more overtly serious figures such as politicians and activists. Some may want more challenging interviews, but for the comfort food that it mainly is, My Next Guest Needs No Introduction is certainly worth a watch.